Hello, hello, hello. My name's Adrian Cockings and welcome to the Phase 1 coronavirus update video here in Spain. My name's Adrian Cockings, and if you don't know who I am, I've created a page called Coronavirus in Spain Information here on Facebook, and I update everyone who is watching about the new rules, the government regulations, the royal decree, and anything that is up to date related to coronavirus here in Spain. This video is specifically going to be for Phase 1. Now, I know Phase 1, the official royal decree announcement on boe.es came out yesterday, and there has been a lot of translation happening. I know the guys in N332, a great page, you should definitely go and follow them. They've been doing a lot of translation as well. I've also been doing my own research and looking at all of the sections in each of the royal decree. And there's still some things that we're just not entirely sure on because it's not stated in the royal decree itself. So what this video is going to be is everything that you will be able to do that is stated in the royal decree. And I will say if anything is not been mentioned or it is not clear in this video as well, just so you're sure about what you can and can't do. So there's a lot to get through. Now, the first thing which I think confused a lot of people was the regions and the provinces that are going to be moving into Phase 1. Now, a lot of people were expecting that all of Spain would go into Phase 1 all at the same time. I predicted that no, this wasn't going to happen. And as the President Sanchez said, he put out that it's going to be done by regions. But what we actually found is it's not only done by the provinces, the regions, they've also done it in sections as well in some areas. So, for example, the Valencian community, or Comunidad de Valencia, they've actually sectioned off certain areas which are not going to be moving into Phase 0 and others, not going to be moving into Phase 1, but then other sections which are still staying in Phase 0. Now, again, the best thing that you can do is to go to your local council town hall. I'll be putting up a link to all the information about which areas are going to be going into Phase 1 and which aren't. If your province or your area or your municipal is not on that list, then most likely you're not going to be going into Phase 1, and this will most likely be another week or at least at least 1 week before this gets announced that you're going into Phase 1, or it could be another 2 weeks, but I think that's going to be a bit too much anyway. So yes, the Murcia region where I am, or the Murcia province where I live in Corbera, which is in the Murcia province, all of the province is going ahead into Phase 1, which is great news. Now, what I will say as well, all of these rules and regulations, they're basically going to be set out for the province, which means that the province president, as in the president of Murcia, the region of Murcia, he can actually adapt some of these rules as well. So it's worth noting that you should be following your town hall on Facebook. Now, I know Murcia, they have their own Facebook page as well, the Murcia Town Hall Facebook page. So it's worth noting that you should be following these. Now, it's not going to be major changes, but in the royal decree, it does state that the government officials of each region or each province will be able to make some amendments to these royal decrees. So yeah, I think most likely it's going to be towards times and everything. I know for exercise and everything as well, but we'll get into that in a second. All right, so the first thing we're going to jump into is sport, professional and federated sport. Now, I will say this, the royal decree that came in last Saturday, which was allowing people to go out to exercise once a day or walk once a day, these rules are still in place. So if you're thinking about going out to do exercise, you still have to abide by these certain time schedules if they apply to you. So if you don't know the time schedules, you can go back and watch a previous video. I'll link it in the description above. But all sports and exercise times are still the same, going for cycling and walks in the mountains if it's in the same municipal as you. Now, the order published today allows the reopening of high-level sports centres. So in other words, gyms and leisure centres, although athletes can only be accompanied by a coach. So this is, in other words, the professional region and professional and federate sports. Now, these exceptions are going to be for people who are minors or with disability, where they aren't able to go by themselves and they need a companion. Now, open-air sports facilities can restart activity via an appointment system, And after each event or each activity, the installations must be disinfected. Now, what does this mean? In other words, tennis courts, open air tennis courts, squash courts, paddle courts, these will now be opening up, but by appointment only. So it is legal. Now, this is, of course, up to the actual owners of these tennis courts, etc., to open up and disinfect them. Now, what I will say, there was no mention about communal tennis courts and communal paddle courts because, again, this comes under a different regime. That's communal areas, and I don't think these are going to be opening up, at least for this phase, maybe in phase 2. But because the people who own it, the community who own it, it has to be disinfected every single time it's used. I don't think they're going to have the manpower to be able to do this. So no, it doesn't state that communal tennis courts will be able to open up. This is, of course, for leisure centres which have open air tennis courts and paddle courts. Right. Also, average training for professional leagues. So, for example, football leagues, rugby leagues, tennis leagues, etc. These will actually be able to open up again, but this is now on a professional level, and they will be doing average training. What else? That's basically it. Oh, and active tourism. This was on the tourism section, but I wanted to put this in here. Now, a lot of people are getting confused with active tourism and what it actually means. Active tourism means like going for nature hikes in a group, but the only way that you'll be able to do this is when you're with a permitted and legal nature excursions group. So it has to be by someone who is fully legal, fully insured, and being able to take you out. And this could actually be for sailing or going out on hikes, going, whitewater rafting, stuff like this. But you will be able to, but it has to be done by a fully legal and registered excursions company. And that is basically what active tourism means. So yeah, that's going to be a lot more sports that you'll be able to manage there. Okay, we'll move on to hotels and tourist accommodation. Now, hotel accommodations, we were unsure on what the Royal Decree was going to be stating. We actually thought it was going to be at a capacity of the rooms that can be let out, but actually in the Royal Decree, it doesn't say anything about capacity. So hotels and bed and breakfast, for example, they're allowed to open up at full capacity, but only with communal areas closed off. In other words, communal swimming pools, these have to now be closed off. So yeah, it's a good thing that the hotel industry is now getting up again. But yeah, so opening without the use of the common areas and with restrictions, for example, among other activities, disinfecting and reinforcement of health and hygiene standards. That's all it states, really. So that's it about hotels. They can start opening up. Bed and breakfasts can start opening up as well. Now, what I will say as well, the only people who will be able to go to these hotels and to go to these bed and breakfasts and holiday homes, the only people who will be able to do this are the people in the same province as you. As in, for example, the Murcia province. For example, someone in the Murcia city centre can go down to the coast of Los Alcázares and book a room in a hotel there. That's fully legal to do. That's not a problem at all. But you will not be able to go from one province to another to stay in a hotel. This is not going to be permitted. All right, the next thing, which is very, very popular and everyone's been asking about us, meeting up with people. And there's been a lot of speculation about what they have to do. They have to wear a mask and stuff like this. But in no actual state on the in no actual point in the Royal Decree does it state that you have to wear a mask while meeting these people. Also, the 2-meter distance. This is also getting thrown around there. Like, it's getting very, very confusing. So, social contact in small groups for people who are not vulnerable or who have not had previous symptoms are okay to do so in private homes or out in the open, such as terraces on bars. So small groups, this is a maximum of 10 people at once. So this is good news as well. Now, in a new order, which will come into force at midnight on Sunday, May the 10th, so going on for the next day, those who live in the same residence will be able to travel in the same car, occupying all the seats and without having to wear a mask. So in other words, anyone in all of Spain, not just the regions that are going into phase 1, but anyone over all of Spain, you are now allowed to go. If you're in the same home, you're now allowed to go in the same car as the other people in the same residence as yourself. This is big news, very, very big news. This was actually put into place, so as of today, actually, this is the case. So more than 2 people can go in the same car. You do not have to have the back row, as in opposite row. You can go in the same row if you're in the same household. If you are not in the same household, you're still permitted to go in the same car together, but you will have to wear a mask and you will have to sit opposite. So that's great news. You're allowed to now go into, and this is just everyone. This is not just the people going into phase 1. This will apply to areas that are in phase 0 as well as phase 1, the entire country. So great news. Okay, and in the cases of those who are not living in the same residence, 2 people are allowed to travel in each row of the cars, or each row of the seats, providing that they use a mask with and respect the maximum distance possible between occupants. Now, this was basically stated for parents taking children on public transport, that they're allowed to sit in the same row as the children. That's all it was stating there. Okay. Businesses and services. Now, as you know, most small businesses have started to open up again, such as hair salons and beauty therapists, massage, reflexologists. All of these are now starting to open up again, which is good news. But from Monday, the 11th of May, most businesses can now start opening up. Generalized opening of premises and commercial establishments that do not have the character of a center or commercial park, which is more than 400 square meters. So if your shop or storefront is less than 400 meters square and is not in a commercial center or a shopping mall, then you are permitted to open up, no matter what type of industry you are in. Now, capacity is limited to only 30%, but you do not have to have an appointment system. So a minimum distance of 2 meters between clients will be guaranteed. So you have to make sure that you have the enough space, even if you have to move around shelves or whatever. You have to have a minimum of 2 meters space between each client. And when this is not possible, only only by appointment of the clients will be allowed. So if you do not have enough space for more than 2 people to go into the shop, then you have to do by appointment only. Outdoor markets will also start resuming from Monday the 11th, but this will be at 25% of service. So in other words, only 25% of the full stalls will be allowed and permitted to open up. Now, this is going to be a very, very big effect, and I can see this changing up to a 50% in the next couple of, in the week or so, because street markets are very popular in Spain, and it's one thing that I know a lot of the Spanish citizens will want to be getting back to. Okay, bars and restaurants. Again, this is another very, very big question that everyone keeps asking us. Opening of terraces. Now, it will be limited to 50%, unlike where the first announcement where it was 30%, it is 50% of these bars and restaurants, they can open up on their terraces only. So it will be limited to 50% of the tables allowed in the previous years based on the municipal licensing, ensuring the distance. Now, some of the bars and restaurant owners have already started to talk to town halls and government officials to extend their outside terrace area. And this will be permitted, and the town hall will be taken into a lot of consideration about the space that has been outside. And they can have a greater number of tables if the city council allows more available space. Now, this is going to be respecting the table surface of 50% ratio, more or less. So if you have enough space for 10 tables, you can only put in 5 tables. But there is going to be a proximity of 10 maximum per table. Now, this is where it gets very wishy-washy. So does it mean that the capacity is 5 tables and you're allowed to have 50 people because 10 lots can go around? It doesn't say. It really does not say. But what I can probably presume is one of those 4-sided square tables, that's for 4 people. If you join 2 more together, that's now for 6 people. If you join 3 together, that's going to be for 8 people. So if there's 4 of those square tables together, that will be the 10 people around that is permitted. It's all very confusing, I know, but this is going to be common sense. And this is what the Guardia Civil have been saying. This is what President Sanchez has been saying, and a lot of the media as well. It's all going to be about common sense here. Yes, they will be putting out more rules to clarify a lot of these wishy-washy rules, but it is all about well, it's all about common sense, really, and being sensible. Now, the time limit on these bars and restaurants, or these terraces, there is no time limit. There's no time limit on how long you're allowed to sit there for, and there is no time schedule for when you're allowed to go. Some people were predicting or thinking that you had to go in your scheduled exercise slot to be able to go out. This is not the case. That is only for exercising that those schedules are put into place. Going to the supermarket, going to the pharmacy, going to bars and terraces now, that is all done on your own time. Now, it's going to be, again, common sense. So, for example, walking 10 kilometers to a bar is not going to be permitted by the police. They will see this as unnecessary travel. You would probably have to take your car to go to this bar or try to go to somewhere that is closer. And again, it's not stated in the royal decree, but this is going to be common sense, where I think the police will be policing people walking to certain places. They'll just be asking, well, where are you going and where do you live? If you're in a place where you are very, very far away from your home and you are going to a place that is maybe not the nearest, they will start asking questions. It's very, very confusing, but again, it's going to be common sense. Now, what I will say is most places in your area or your village or your town, you'll be able to go to any one, to be honest. That's not going to be much of an issue. Again, it's just very, very wishy-washy. I wish we had the actual rules on this, and most likely this will come out either today or tomorrow, but this is what we've got at the moment. It's just keeping common sense in play here. Now, restaurants and bars will have to prioritize the single-use tablecloth, and under no circumstances can a fabric tablecloth be used for more than one customer or one table. Such items will have to be washed at temperatures of 60 to 90 degrees Celsius. So in other words, these are the certain measures that restaurants and bars will have to start putting in. It's disinfecting after every single use. If you're using single tablecloths, it has to be removed after every single climb. And again, I'm not sure whether it's going to be allowed to have a clear tabletop with no tablecloth on top, or plastic or paper tablecloth, and maybe just disinfect before someone sits down. I don't know if that's going to be the rule, but again, we're still waiting for more clarity on that. But the idea here is you're allowed to go to any bar, restaurant, terrace at any time during the day. All right, and we're moving on to two more things. Religious and places of worship. These are also going to be opening up as well, such as churches and mosques. These will be opening up with a third of capacity. So if you've got a church with the capacity of 1,200 people, only 400 people will be permitted to go in. Now, wakes as well, funerals, these will be starting to commence again. Unfortunately, in phase 0, these weren't actually allowed. And we had a couple of messages on here, which was very, very heartbreaking, that people were not able to go into a funeral to say goodbye to their loved ones. But in phase 1, yes, this is going to be permitted, but the number of relatives will be limited to 15 people in an open air space, or 10 people in closed areas. I don't know if that's going to be 10 people at a time and then one more can come in and one can go out. Again, nothing stated there. Okay, and what other businesses can reopen? There's going to be a few other things that are probably going to be coming out during the week, but as we know from today or yesterday, the Bowie permits vehicle dealerships to restart their activity, as well as ITV garages, which is the MOT equivalent here in Spain. So ITV vehicle inspections will be permitted as well. Now, for all the people who have their ITV expired during the state of alarm, do not worry, you're able to drive to the ITV garage to get your ITV certificate or get passed through the test. If you have your ITV that expired before the state of alarm or state of emergency, and you do not have proof that you made an appointment, then you will not be able to drive your car. This won't be legal and you would have to get it towed or buy a pickup truck to be able to take it to the ITV garage. Just be careful out there, okay? Also, with driving licenses as well, all of these will be extended for at least another 60 days. So if you haven't, if you've had your driving license that is expired during the state of alarm, do not worry, you've got another 60 days. And if your driving license expired before the state of alarm, you will not be able to drive your car to be able to go and get your new license. Someone will have to take you, which is now permitted. Yay. Okay, also reopening of garden centres. Garden centres, no matter what the square meterage, that is also permitted as well. whatever their size, and as long as there is an appointment system implemented. So garden centres, you will be able to go, but you would have to ring to get an appointment or something like this. And all other establishments that are open to the public will have to disinfect their premises twice a day. So this is a lot of news to take in. Now, this is what we've got from yesterday's, and I know there's more information. This is basically the information that I've taken from all the information that I've received, and I've crushed it up. If not, it will probably be about an hour video of all the news and all the rules and every single small detail that we have to put together. So I'm probably going to be doing another update video on this. I'm going to be doing a live video tomorrow, just like always. Every Monday and Friday, I'm doing a live video. So yeah, you can come back tomorrow at 4 p.m, watch the live video, and I'll see if there's any more updates or any more clarity on any of these rules. But as it stands, these are the rules. You're able to go. Oh, and this is one other big thing. I didn't put it in there. I forgot. Supermarkets. You are allowed to go to any supermarket now as long as it's in your province. This is only for people going into phase 1. So you're allowed to go to any other supermarket that is not in your province. That is in your province. You are not allowed to go, or not permitted to go to another province to go to another supermarket or to a shop. You are not allowed to go from one province to another province. Okay, please be very careful with that. Oh, and last thing as well. People looking to move houses, you are permitted to move a house if it is in the same province as you as well. So if, for example, one person in the Merthyr city centre wants to move house to the coast, this is now permitted. Even going to second residences, for example, their beach home, you're also permitted to do this as long as it's in the same province as yourself, okay? That's it. That's all we've got, guys. All right, where can I leave this off? Enjoy tomorrow. I'm going to be going to see my family tomorrow for the first time in about 50 days. So this is going to be a very emotional one. Now, if you are going out tomorrow and it's, I don't know, a joyous occasion, send a video to me, or take a video, send it over to me, and maybe I'll put a video together of all the people going out to see their friends or their families, and I'll put a nice little video together, just like we did with the children here on this channel as well. So yeah, if you're going to be recording any meet and greets and stuff like this, let me know, share some videos, and I'll see if I can put something together. Right, guys, that is it for today. I will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. on Monday the 11th. And until then, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.